Time now for a quick ride on Honda's all-new slice and dice machine, the CBR 600 F4. It's hard to believe that it's been 12 years since the first CBR, the Hurricane, blew away the 600 class standard. At the heart of this CBR, you'll find a redesigned liquid-cooled inline-4, utilizing more over-square cylinder dimensions. This new engine is overall physically smaller and 6.6 pounds lighter than the previous power plant found in the F3. Also new for 1999, Honda redesigned the CBR's dual-stage ram air system. Scoops now stuff the incoming air into the F4's larger bore 36.5mm flat-slide CV carbs. And check out the frame. Notice the F4's engine now bolts to an aluminum frame, with the swing arm pivoting a la Ducati at the rear of the cases. In the braking department, the F4 now utilizes 4-pot Nissans, straight off its big brother, the CBR9. While out back, the rear wheel is 5.5 inches in width, ready to take on the very latest in racetrack rubber. So how does the CBR ride? Well, earlier this spring, we invited Colin Fraser and Larry Tate, senior editors with Inside Motorcycles, to sample the F4 both on the street and the track. And here's what they had to say after several days of knee dragging, Southern style.
It's hard to believe that it's been 12 years since the first Hurricane was introduced, which was really the progenitor of this thing.
A bike that tipped over the two-stroke race replicas and made us know a street bike could actually be a good racetrack bike.
Yeah, exactly. It really set the trend for the last decade of middle-sized super sports type racing. It's hard to believe that it feels so familiar, but at the same time it's just better in every way.
In a way, really, it maybe shouldn't have been F4 because the other ones have been logical progressions in terms of design, and this one really is a new motorcycle.
Well, the biggest changes to this thing are that everything is new. There may be some fasteners somewhere that are the same, but other than that, nothing. The biggest single change is probably, the biggest visible single change would be this big aluminum frame. Everybody always made fun of Honda for keeping a steel frame on the F3s, but it worked remarkably well right up until last season.
And also, the thing you notice particularly is the fact the swing arm pivot is now integral with the engine, whereas that seems to be the new direction, but that's fairly new, and Honda did it with the BFR 800, very much a sort of a racing-derived thing.
The engine characteristics don't seem much different. If I had the seat of the pants, I'd say it's a little softer in the middle and it's definitely stronger up top. But again, for street use, it's not really a huge difference. So
and it has that really crisp throttle response that this bike's so famous for, and not a lot of driveline slop, so very confidence-inspiring in terms of gauging the acceleration, particularly when you lean right over. For me, it's hard to get over how much feel you get from this motorcycle. I've always enjoyed riding this series of bike, but we're getting close to race bike sophistication in the suspension, and Honda are proud of the fact they say their bikes are getting more subtle, that they understand the valving inside the shocks and that kind of thing, and I really do with this bike see the difference compared to an F3.
Yeah.
I think you can get more road feel. I'm not saying everybody would have the ability to pick up that information, but for someone with some experience, it's very pleasurable. You get on it and you can feel that right away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brakes. Well, I would say the previous Honda F models had brakes that shouldn't work as well as they do, but were good and had a lot of feel. These brakes, I think, are another step forward. Maybe not as much feel, but a little more power, which is generally the way things go for the track. It's hard to have great power and great feel.
Yeah.
Good trade-off, but heading more towards the experienced rider.
And if you look at the tires on this number, you can see that we've been using pretty much all of these Dunlop 207s very comfortably. I mean, we haven't been scaring each other or doing anything silly all weekend. But
and ironically, it's probably the 207 that partly forced Honda to redesign this bike, a DOT street legal tire that works basically like a slick.
Yeah.
And really nice tire to ride on street or track, pretty flexible. And if you're going to do track riding on a bike like this, you're going to need a high quality tire. Now, the nice thing is this bike comes with 207s, a street version, which would be good for track days.
The paint is nice. I mean, it doesn't look like something you'd want to take and beat up at a racetrack. You know, it's very nicely done. Deep lustrous paint. The plastic is high quality stuff. This sort of crinkle stuff in here, again, it looks like it came off a Honda or an Acura car rather than necessarily a motorcycle.
A little more detail finishing than most bikes in this class.
Absolutely. You know, you look at how the panels are all closed off inside the fairing here. There's no open edges. There's no wiring hanging loose anywhere. It's very automotive in that sense, that everything is sort of closed up and contained and tidy.
And one thing to mention, Larry, is the windscreen is higher, which was a problem with the old models. And it's not a lot better, but it is better, and I think it's even better on the track, and it certainly is better on the street. It's comfortable, given that it's a sporting bike on the street, and the mirrors work reasonably well. Not great, but better than some of the bikes in the class.
Yeah.
The riding position, I think, on this bike is one of the best, period, and Honda have, I think, worked really hard to keep it, and it's very much a standard by which the other bikes are judged, I think. It's such a good balance, and it allows you to ride fast on the track and isn't bad for riding on the street for long distances.
They've made, basically, they've kept the streetability aspect of it in terms of seating position and ease of use and so on. And for the hardcore guy who wants to go faster to race it, it's better in every possible respect. You know, it's lighter, it's stronger, it's faster, it's easier to work on, certainly in terms of the subframe coming loose and stuff like that. Better brakes. It's amazing, it really is quite something.